Hey, what's up, fam? Thank y'all for tuning in once again. As always, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit the notification bell. So every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. So we all know last couple of days that Keefe was arrested for the murder of Tupac. Now, for those of you who've been living on a rock for the last 27 years, this is a man who was in the car when the alleged shooter, his nephew, Orlando Anderson, actually committed the crime. Now, what we know is that everyone that was in the car except Keefe has passed away for whatever different reasons, right? But this guy, for some reason, came out and started talking about it. Now, he's a known gangster, but with the I believe the Southside Crips in Compton, a known shot caller in the drug gang. So he, you would think that he would know the street code, right? But there has been some controversy with this brother in the past where people say that he had, told or snitched on some people, but he said, he did it to keep some people, safe and out of harm's way. So he had to, give up a little bit to save a lot. Kind of like, what was that? Rayful Edmonds? I forgot the dude's name. I'm sorry. But the guy in DC who was a big time drug dealer, and when they got ready to get him, and he said he wasn't going to say nothing, but when they was talking about arresting his mom and his aunts and his family and stuff like that, people close to him, he said, hey, man, he had no choice. You know what I'm saying? He got to keep his family out of prison. A lot of street people didn't appreciate that. They said, once Rayful got out of prison, he's been in hiding ever since. So the story goes. I don't know what's the update, but it is what it is. Like I said, this guy here just started running at the mouth. Like I said, he said he was helping some people out, but still, I don't know. They say he couldn't go into Compton no more. Couldn't hang out there no more because people, was going to be on his head, right? But I want to get into some details because there's a saying that, an old fool was once a young fool. You see got a lot of these rappers out here now that we talk about these young rappers who go on Vlad for the most part and talk about criminal activities, either presently or former activities they participated in. Then you wonder why next thing you know, a few months later, they get arrested and sitting in the Fed for the next 20 years, and everybody call, saying that Vlad works for the Feds. But in actuality, whether he works for the Fed or not, man, nobody is making these folk get on there and talk. Just like when you watch the first 48. And that's what I be wondering, like, do these youngsters not watch TV at all? All they do is make videos and watch themselves on videos and just, that's it. Because if you watch the first 48 hours, and that show comes on damn near 24 hours a day, every day of the week almost, you see these youngsters getting in there, these interrogation rooms, and, they get arrested first and they looking all hard, but once they get in the interrogation room, that common sense will tell you, I'm not speaking without my lawyer. Because no matter what you say, you're not going home at that time, period. They got you. They got you there for a reason. You are not. And if you're not under arrest, you are going home. But if they got you in handcuffs and under, what I'm saying, you are not going home. So what you talking for? And there are some on there that say, hey, I ain't speaking without my lawyer. And you got some that will start chirping. And then those people that start chirping seem to get depending on what their involvement is, seem to get the stiffer sentences. And then you got some who go in there and get the chirping, and then they get like, a small sentence or whatever. So, but like I said, you wonder if these young rappers watch this because they, like I said, they get up here but I think it's just human nature, truth be told. I don't give a damn doggone if you're a rapper, a gangster, or a squire. It's just human nature. People trying to get out of trouble. I think a lot of times it's your conscience. A person's self-conscious wants to tell when they do something wrong to get it off their chest. Not really to brag out per se, and some of it is for bragging rights. But a lot of times I think people just want to tell it when they do something great, or they do something wrong that was sneaky and is eating them up. A lot of times they want to get it off their chest because you see, like I say, you look at the first 48, when the people start telling that what their involvement is in certain crimes, the detectives will ask, doesn't that make you feel better? And they're like, yeah, it does. It's a lot off my chest. Maybe it feels the weight has lifted off me. It's like I can breathe. That let you know, like I say, people just your body and your chemical makeup or what have you makes it to where really, unless you just got no soul at all and you figure out a way to bypass that emotion, you want to get out there and snitch. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about Keefe D, right? He got arrested, like I said, a few days ago, but there have been stories after story. And shout out to Reggie Wright on what's called Bomb First, the Art of Dialogue, Vlad TV too, which, I got my things about Vlad, and channels like that this guy went on and actually talked and ran his mouth and eventually got arrested. Now, I'm wondering, for a guy who's been in trouble with the law for a lot of his life, I wonder why he thought he could get out here and start running his mouth. And I think maybe one, he's not too bright. Okay. I don't think he remember exactly what the proffer agreement meant. He maybe can't read. I don't know. Maybe he just went by what somebody told him, and you know how people hear what they want to hear, and they told him that this proffer agreement, you sign this, you make this agreement, then we cannot prosecute you. But as Detective Greg Kading said in many interviews, he said, but if anything you said in this agreement, any testimony you give is a lie, or it's contradictory to anything that you say somewhere else, then your protection, you are no longer protected with this agreement. It's a one-time offer. And he probably said, yeah, okay. But I don't think he fully grasped exactly what that meant. So let's get into this right quick. All right. I want to do a little deep dive. First, I want to go to this website and kind of give you an overview of a proffer agreement. This is from scrofanolaw.com. And it says the overview of a proffer agreement. It say on police detective or FBI agent TV shows, it's common to see someone accused of committing a federal crime brought in for questioning in a criminal investigation and offered a deal if they agree to quote unquote testify or cooperate. In real life, such a deal is known as a proffer agreement. See, I didn't know that. I thought it was like, when they kept saying proffer agreement, I thought it was something different, but this is more like, what does it say? Like immunity. The proffer agreement is a written contract between a federal prosecutor and a defendant. I understand that's federal prosecutor and defendant, or a person under criminal investigation, where the defendant agrees to provide the prosecutor with useful information. The statements they made will not be used against them in future criminal proceedings. However, when the defendant's testimony does not match their statements, or if the defense lawyers attempts to challenge the evidence that contradicts the defendant's statement, most proffer agreements permit the prosecutor to introduce statements made during the plea negotiation. In other words, the statement will be used to impeach the defendant. During the trial, during the trial, impeachment is the process of discrediting or undermining the witness credibility. Typically, proffer agreements are made with the understanding that the prosecutor either grant them immunity from federal criminal prosecution or offer a favorable plea deal regarding sentencing. So from what I get from this proffer agreement is this is with the feds, right? Now, why was Keefe D given the proffer agreement? I'm going to go to ktnv.com news. And this article was written in July 21st of this year, 2023. So this is a few months ago, after they kicked in this dough. And it says investigators zero in on uncle of Tupac Shakur's suspected killer. Detective who worked the case explains why. Like I say, people, you gotta read. Don't just watch these little 2-minute sound, these little 30-second, 2-minute sound bites. It says a former detective said Keefe D's recent interview about Tupac Shakur gave the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department an open door for a court-authorized warrant. So Greg Kading, okay, let me keep going. Greg Kading, a former Los Angeles Police Department detective, talked to Channel 13 about the new developments in the nearly 27-year-old murder case. Monday, Las Vegas, like I said, this is in July. Monday, Las Vegas police and SWAT approached the Henderson home with a search warrant. Residents on Maple Shade Street recall hearing loud noises, bullhorns, and seeing lights. Tuesday, an official told ABC News that investigators started looking into the case after Netflix aired Unsolved, the Tupac and Biggie murders in 2018, and a book called Compton Street Legend, published in 2019, supposedly written by none other than Keefe D. And I wonder, again, why would he put this information out, or why would he write this book? Well, here's the thing. He started getting interviews, okay? Started doing interviews, making money, and saw that a lot of people wanted to hear his story, was intrigued by his story. I'm still not understanding why. I mean, the psyche just throws me off because, dude, you are accused of taking out one of the greatest, most political, most outspoken, most beloved rapper, entertainer, activist in the history of our community at the time, at the height of his career. And you were gonna write a book about it. Now, I ain't read the book, ain't bought the book, don't plan on reading nothing about the book because I don't know, don't care about a street legend from Compton or anywhere else. But he went out and wrote this book. Now, why did he write this book? You know, I wonder if it's because, if a lot of y'all recall, Keefe D had cancer. He announced he had cancer some years back. Colon cancer to be exact. And I think he said his mom passed away from it. It might be in this article here. So his mom passed away from it like in 75, 79, a long time ago. So he had it, and maybe he thought he was looking at his last days, you know? So he was like, man, I can go out here again, like I said before earlier, clear his mind, clear his conscience about some things that he's done in the past and trying to get right with the Most High. A lot of people believe that's possible. And so that's why he did it. You know, they say a lot of times when people commit crimes, they want to get caught for some strange reason. I don't know. That's why I will forever be a squirrel. It say from the home, police gather laptops, articles, and computers about Shakur and his death. So the dude had articles and stories on his computer in his house about what happened. Just probably had him say that. Like I say, man, dude, I don't know. And then they talked about what happened on the night of September 6th. They say how, you know, there was a conflict where you saw Orlando Anderson getting stomped out in the lobby of the hotel, the casino. And then next thing you know, that night, you know, Tupac, you know, was shot. They said Kading said his investigation identified Anderson as the shooter. Police believe Anderson got a gun and drove to the BMW. We all know that. He said after the shooting, they fled. They put the car somewhere, stashed the gun, and then just went about. Now, you know, I saw Keefe D do an interview years back where he said they took the car. This is, I mean, on TV, bro. Took the car to like a parking garage, put the gun like on the wheel, on the tire, and then like left. You know, went out and partied like it was nothing. So this dude, like I said, was actually, I don't know if he was bragging, but he's telling a story. But one thing that worried me, that concerned me was, well, I know here in the great state of Texas, even if you didn't pull the trigger, if you are in the car when a crime is committed, you are like guilty of the same crime. So if this dude is admitting. That's why I feel that they have been investigating this a lot longer than this year. Like I said, like 2018, which is probably when I saw the interview, probably years ago. Once this dude started making statements, they started investigating, trying to see what was in the proffer agreement, and they start moving forward with it. Now people say, "Oh, if you got the information, why didn't they arrest it immediately?" Well, hey, it's a 20-something-year-old case, and you got other murders and other stuff to solve too. So you can't, you can have a task force on it, but I'm sure the task force is not working on this one case at one time. They probably got multiple cases that's where multiple levels of evidence comes in, valuable, invaluable, credited, uncredited, whatever comes in for all different cases. So they got to look into it. So they got to give everybody, certain amount of time, certain cases to get certain amount of time, so they got to look at them all, not just say, hey, we got this one, and because it might just go back to we still stuck at how we're going to prove this. How can we bring this to a grand jury? It said Caden said LAPD was investigating the shooting of Christopher Wallace, also known as Notorious Big. Keefe D was a suspect in the case as the Southside Crips at the Peterson Auto Museum the night Wallace was shot. So here's the thing. I used to tell my kids, man, you always get in trouble for something you had nothing to get in trouble. You had nothing to do with you getting in trouble for. Just because he's a gang member, like known gang banger or whatever, association affiliated part of a gang. If you're there and the crime is committed, if you got a history with the law and the crime is committed where you at, you're going to be the number one suspect, hands down. So whether they had something to do with him getting done, Notorious Big getting shot or not, you were there. So now antennas go up. And now we're finna start looking. Now they're finna start looking at stuff to see how they can catch you. If you don't know, we're gonna make you tell, right? So, Katie said to get Keefe D to provide more information to police about the shooting of Tupac, they made a proffer agreement in 2009, meaning that police would not hold self-incriminating statements against him. Now, it said he was facing a 25-year minimum mandatory sentence on a drug case that we had built against him, and that we had built that case specifically against him to compel him to cooperate in the murder investigations. Plural. So, kids, listen to what he's saying. He was saying that the police from LA set him up to get prosecuted by the police in Las Vegas because they knew he had something to do with the murder. So they're like, well, look here. We're going to do everything we can. We're going to try to get him on every charge. We're going to try to scare the living daylights out of this man for him to say something about everything. And even this, and we hear anything about any crime, then we're going to give it to that particular police department, which is what they did for the Vegas police. But he had a proffer agreement so that, look, this is what he told us. And I'm sure they figured that he's probably not telling 100% truth because they probably know him. So they're saying, hey, here's the agreement, keep it, study it. Eventually, he's going to slip up. And if he does, you can get him, but this is your best chance of solving this case. Because you're going to need to solve it. What does he say? However, in recent years, Caden said Keefe D started to boast publicly about the murder of Tupac, and those statements were separate from his agreement with police. Now, remember what the proffer agreement said. It said that as long as the statements you make here line up with any other statement that you make anywhere else, you're fine. From the federal police. It didn't say anything about local law authorities. But what Greg Caden said is what he was saying out publicly was separate from his, like I say, was separate from what he told them. Like what you told us is, hey, that's what we got going. But if you go out here and brag and boast, ain't got nothing to do with us. You know what I'm saying? So our thing is you keep quiet, we keep quiet. This is it. But he felt that since he got this agreement, he can just, as long as he's tell the same story or close to the same story or whatever, he'll be all right. And that's not the way the law works. Like I said, I don't understand how he ain't know this when like the man has been in run-ins with the law like the majority of his life. This is something his lawyer should have told him and broke down to him really. Eventually, we went to interview him about that, and that led to his confession to the murder of Tupac Shakur case, and said he's out there boasting about it, and none of these confessions he's making are protected under his previous agreement. So it opened up the door for police now to pursue him and to prosecute him. Caden believes that police opened Shakur's case again because of proactive Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department investigator. Sometimes all it takes is a proactive investigator who thinks he has enough to continue to investigate activity, said. And so that's what led to the search warrants. Caden hopeful that they'll reopen the case, will set the record straight and close it. They say it took a long time to solve and blah, 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 blah. So, like I said, an old fool was once a young fool. This brother never grew up. Still got the gangster mentality. Even now, when you see him on interviews, he's still threatening Mike Tyson, threatening Lil Boosie, and anybody else who got something to say about what he done or what his nephew did and stuff like that. He's still, like I say, out here threatening and this, that, and the third. Eventually, man, people, you got to grow up. You got to let it go. That life is not worth it. You know, you've seen a lot of your family members, a lot of your friends, all these people lose their life for something that shows them no respect. The streets don't care about you, and they are filled with the blood of young brothers, and will continue to do so until things change in this country and how we see our kids, how we see each other. You know, we are so quick to be mad at each other, want to hate each other, want to fight each other, when we shouldn't be each other's enemies, because we're fighting for the same thing. You know, we shouldn't be the crabs in the barrel, as they call it. We trying to get to the same place, you know, freedom, peace and tranquility in a country that we call home, in the world that we call home. And we see the system trying to destroy us and try to keep us down, and we placate to that. We'll allow it to happen with, you know, a lot of the new rap music for sure. You know, glorifying this kind of stuff. And you've seen, I've done videos about young rappers rapping about robbing ATMs. And then they get arrested because they robbing ATMs. Rapper got arrested about not too long ago about committing taking out one of his ops or his rivals, and the fool got arrested in jail and charged with murder because he rapped about it. I mean, I don't get it. I just don't get it. But again, like I said, the psyche, your mind wants you, for whatever reason, to tell the world. You want the world to know about what you did, whether trying to brag about it or you're trying to get it off your conscience. It's gonna come out. This is why they say if you're gonna do dirt by yourself, or just don't do it at all. I just say don't do it at all. You know, if you want to tell the world about something, do only great things. When you do only great things, then you know what? Then you ain't really got to tell nobody, because everybody else is going to talk about it. You ain't got to talk about it. Let people talk. Let people speak on you. I believe that's biblical. You know, let the world talk about you, about your accomplishment and all the good you have done for the people of the world. And you ain't got to say a word, man. Let your boasting, let your actions be your, so let your actions do the talking for you, is what they say. But anyway, that's all I got for this story here, man. Hey, I'm glad that they finally arrested this dude. He's been talking a long time. Like I said, I don't know if maybe he thinks he's dying and he trying to, sold a book, put out interviews for money so he can give it to his grandkids. I don't know. Sometimes people do stuff like that, man. You just gotta kind of see it a little deeper than what they give you. But in the end, he's arrested. And that's what we've been looking for. Maybe kind of late, but hey, better late than never, right? You know what I'm saying? So maybe now he can rest in peace. Maybe now his mother can rest in peace. And maybe now justice can be served. Well, anyway, with that being said, tell me what you think about the story. Leave your comments below and then share it with the world. And with that being said, I'll leave you in peace. And I'll see you on the other side.